Hello and welcome back to The Charismatic Voice. Now, last time I posted a video, I asked you what you wanted to hear. The overwhelming response was more Dimash. So today I'm going to be doing a review of Ogni Pietra by Dimash Kudaibergen. Version-wise, there are several versions of this piece, and you guys supplied me with some awesome links. There were a bunch of you that really wanted the fan cam version, which shows his face more. But for me to really hear what's going on in his voice, I needed something with a little bit better sound quality. So some of you really liked this other version from the same concert in our now, where it's backed up. You can see more of the stage. The sound quality in that was better. So I'm going to be listening to that video. However, you know that I listen to you and I love your comments because I'm going to go back and put the fan cam version on top so that you can see what he's doing with his face up close at the same time as hearing that sound a little bit better. All right, let's get to it. So much composure. Ooh, look at the way he breathed in when he raised his hands too. That was fantastic. Ooh, such a beautiful beginning to this piece. It's really amazing hearing him do this versus the Fifth Element dance that I covered last time. This is in a lower range. I just hear so much smoothness in his voice, a really, really beautiful legato. But the thing that is really grabbing me right now is how good his Italian is. Now, I have an opera background, and so I'm really particular about how foreign languages are pronounced. I think it's very important for a singer to deliver their message. And that means that you need to have excellent pronunciation, even if you're singing in a language that isn't in your mother tongue. So also, before you go to opera, before you go to performances like this, I believe that you should read those lyrics and the translation of them so that you're ready to receive what that singer is going to give you. I pulled up the lyrics translation here, and I just want to read you that first part. Every stone and every flower, our earth was created for love. We are its children, poets and heroes. The life is born and goes and will be forever. These are beautiful lyrics, and he delivers them perfectly. I love they're expansive, they're inclusive of humanity, and you can see just that serene presence already in his position on stage. In addition, he's using incredibly pure Italian vowels. This is why singers love Italian so much. It really helps people train in singing pure vowels, meaning that each vowel has a defined space that maximizes its resonance, like its ability to speak to you right away. So if you look at his mouth, he's really got a lot of movement that's happening, and he has really, really clear vowels. I want to hear some more of how he handles this Italian particularly, and hopefully some more different registers. I heard this piece has a lot of registers in it. Let's keep going. Ooh, okay, so this is a great example of amazing Italian. In particular, I love it's more dramatic now, and so he's even increasing the energy that's going through his consonants. You take a look at his R's, they're not they're they have so much energy, and he sings straight through them to keep a really lovely legato line. Fantastic use of Italian consonants to create more drama. Let's keep going. Okay, so what he was just doing was going through a very large range that encompassed 3 different vocal registers. This is very exciting to me because I love talking about vocal registers and vocal techniques. So he did this incredibly. Let's talk a little bit about vocal registers, especially in adult male voice. So I always go back to science. Like, what have people studied? If you've stuck a camera down somebody's throat and you've seen how those muscles and those vocal cords are functioning, then I'll trust that word a little bit more. And I like to read research papers about this, of course. So in the male voice, there are 4 commonly recognized vocal registers with a possible 5th. There's vocal fry. People don't really sing in that much. Then you have chest voice, head voice, falsetto, and the 5th one that isn't studied very much for male voices is whistle register. That's kind of, basically, we don't have enough people who've had cameras down their throat to really give you tons of information about it at this point. Also, if you really like weird sounds that human beings can make and are interested in putting more cameras down throats, you should go check out my video on the ugliest sound in the world and how to make it, and subscribe there while you're at it. But back to adult male voice registers. So essentially, the only difference in these registers are which muscles are dominating all of that movement. You have your thyroid muscles and your cricothyroid muscles. These are both muscle pairs. We're going to call them TA and CT for short. And chest voice, you have both your TA and your CT muscles going, but your TAs are the dominant pairs. And in your head voice, you have your TA and your CT, but your CT are dominating over the TA, but they're both going. This one's just a little bit more powerful. Then in falsetto, there's a pretty big change in tone quality. That's usually the most obvious change in tone quality in a man's voice, because just the CT muscles are doing the brunt of the work. Now, every now and then, you'll find a countertenor who has a lot of power, kind of like Dimash here. And those countertenors, they did a study in the early 2000s. They saw that they were actually using a tiny bit of their TA muscles to get a little more power out of the sound. But I think we're probably going to hear some more falsetto coming up here. So I'll get into a little bit more about how that functions once we've heard some more. There you go, falsetto. Wow, that was so beautiful. It was like angelic, ethereal. There's a little bit of breathiness in there too. Those are things that define the falsetto. A lot of people will say falsetto voice sounds almost feminine. It sounds kind of like a female soprano's voice. Dimash has so much control up there. This had it had expressive beauty. It was floaty, but it was legato. Just really an exquisite and beautiful sound. Now, a few of you were asking about a male soprano voice, and that's technically a subset of countertenors, first of all. But a true male soprano, as defined by science right now, is that it's a male's voice that hasn't fully matured for one reason or another. If it were a couple hundred years ago, that would be because it was a castrati who had some parts removed in order to sustain a higher voice type. But today, when you talk true male sopranos, that's usually in reference to someone who, for some hormonal or developmental reason, they essentially didn't have their voice box fully mature. Dimash actually has incredibly mature low notes. He really has a full sound down there as well as up high. So I don't think we would call him a true male soprano. In fact, it'd be hard to classify him at all because he has such a wide range. But he is technically singing in a falsetto that is reinforced when he's singing louder. And then this amazing floaty moment, he probably is using a less reinforcement so he can keep that super pure and delicate sound. Let's keep going. Wow, that's some good power in the falsetto. Okay, let's see if we sing it. That's a high D. I've performed high Ds multiple times. Those are hard for me to sing. And he's a guy. He's a guy. Like, that's hard for any woman to sing. I'm a little blown away right now because, maybe not a little, I'm a lot blown away right now because I think that he sang that high D better than I've ever sung high Ds. And that's... I'm like, wait a second. How can you do that? That's crazy, crazy, crazy. It was so pure. Those chords were coming together so well up there. And I love that he was able to give just as much drama and power in his upper register as his lower register. This tells you he has trained so much to make those registers similar. That's something that professional singers go for a lot, is trying to sort of have an equilibrium of different registers. And his is really exquisite. Okay, Dimash, I'm sure you're gonna blow me away some more. Let's keep going. Ooh, look at that intensity. Okay, it's so hard because so much of it was so good. I was like, I don't want to stop, but I want to stop and talk about it, but I'm just enjoying listening to it so much. This is a repeat of the phrase that we heard earlier. It starts with vi. and it starts in this low register and then starts to go up high. And if you go back and you listen to that part a few times, I'll be putting links to all of the videos I've used here below. So please, please, please visit them. I'm sure that they would love to have your views. So when he starts low, he goes down to a C below middle C there. And that's his chest voice. And then he has an incredibly smooth transition into a strong head voice. You can tell that these are the same because they're both technically modal voice. So they have a very similar tone quality there. It just gets lighter in tone quality when he goes up to his head voice. And then when you hear him switch to the falsetto, that's when it starts to sound a little more like a soprano or feminine tone quality. Let's keep going though. Falsetto. Oh my gosh. Okay, so I checked it. That was a high E at the end. That's really high. Okay, and also that means that he sang over 3 octaves in this piece. All of it being powerful, being controlled, being smooth. That's phenomenal. That's really, truly amazing. That means, you know, he can sing way outside of all of that. And he just sang in his most controlled part of his voice, which having over 3 octaves is amazing for that. Also, one of the things that I noticed and really loved was that he stayed in just one spot on stage. Now, I know that in a lot of performances, people are moving around a lot and they have microphones and they're going like, ooh, yeah. You could see that he was like taking energy up out of the ground to just deliver this more powerful, more dramatic performance. And I have so much respect for that choice. And at the same time, he was using his arms and his expression and his intense gaze to give a message while not sacrificing any vocal quality. That was very, very impressive. Wow. Dimash, you are incredible. Such an amazing performance by Dimash. I'm very excited to be doing more videos on him. I haven't chosen which one of his songs I'll do next, so if you want to recommend below, please go for it. I will also be doing some other vocal artists, so feel free to pipe in about who else you'd like to hear. And if you have any questions about vocal registrations, I'll be posting some links below to my favorite articles and research on that. In addition, I have tons of other videos on my YouTube channel about registration and voice parts. So if you want to go check those things out, please subscribe while you're at it. And thank you for listening today.